Welcome to the program Agric Economy on ARCN Television, Abuja, Nigeria. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin Amin. Agric Economy is the program where we bring to you happenings as it relates Agric Economy. When we say Agric Economy, it means that anything financing as it comes to agriculture. On this episode of the program, we'll be looking at the last leg of assignments the former minister embarked upon before he left office. Amongst that assignment is the 65 billion naira recapitalization fund for farmers, which the federal government made available to the Bank of Agriculture. And in that meeting, where, of course, stakeholders from the agri sector, the likes of the BOA Managing Director, the Mieti Allah Association, amongst others. The minister, during the meeting at the press conference, said that the federal government is keen in ensuring that agriculture take its right position in the different sectors we have in Nigeria. And of course, we know that the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, since inception, has ensured that agriculture is one major ways of diversifying the nation's economy. The Managing Director of Bank of Agriculture, on his part, Mr. Iwan Hassan, said that the recapitalization of the BOA with 65 billion for agribusiness development in all food value chain is with 5 billion naira set aside for livestock, and this is what we've not seen for the past past administrations. And this, of course, is one thing to applaud the federal government over. Let's listen to them and hear what they have to say in details.
This year, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will be jointly celebrating the event with the Commercial Dairy Ranchers Association of Nigeria, Kodoran, Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Sahel Consulting and Nutrition Nigeria Limited, Agriculture Correspondent Association of Nigeria, and Center for Journalism and Innovation Development. As we all know, the United Nations has set aside 1st June of every year as World Milk Day, and this year's theme, Sustainable Dairy, Good for Planet, Good for You, speaks directly to the need for deliberate effort to make milk production, collection and processing climate smart. The 2023 World Milk Day celebration will feature lectures, discussions, exhibitions, and children's programs, including a guided tour of the dairy exhibition stands for the children, all addressing this year's theme. All the event will take place at the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry Complex along Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Lugbe in FCT. That's from 31st May to 1st June 2023. In compliance with the UN Declaration, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has been celebrating the World Milk Day every year with the rest of the world. Our celebrations and interventions in the dairy value chain have positively impacted the sector and elicited an upsurge in dairy activities in Nigeria, as evidenced by the huge number of requests for collaboration from a wide range of stakeholders in the industry, and increase their interest in the development of the dairy sector. This is also a pointer to the positive impact of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and its partners have made in intensifying the need for backward integration, looking inwards and developing our indigenous dairy industry in line with the present administration policy on local content. The ministry will also use the opportunity of the World Milk Day to coordinate focused discussions on dairy development in Nigeria from the views of industry experts in finance, agribusiness, environment, and other related areas who will deliver papers and participate in discussions, following which a communique will be issued at the end of the event. The ministry, just like other partners, will use this opportunity of the event to showcase her achievement in milk production, collection, processing, and transportation, as well as enlighten Nigerians on achievement of national programs on pasture development, animal feed, and feed security, breeding and conservation, dairy development, among others, under the National Livestock Transformation Plan, NLTP. Some of these achievements include: 1. Capacity building and empowerment programs for dairy farmers on hygienic milk production and processing in Bauchi and Plateau states. Construction and equipment of 13 milk collection centers, 2 each in Taraba, Adamawa, Bauchi, Gombe, Kwara, Niger, and Plateau states. These milk collection centers are awaiting handing over to the milk processors. Capacity building on pasture production, processing and conservation in 2 locations each in Adamawa, Bauchi, and Gombe states. Procurement of 6 pasture transformation equipment and 6 grass choppers for 2 locations each in Adamawa, Bauchi, and Gombe states. Also establishment of 90 hectares commercial pasture plots, 15 hectares each state, and 12 hectare pilot homestead pasture plots, 2 each in Adamawa, again, Bauchi, Kwara, Kaduna, Gombe, and Niger. Construction and equipment of 12 feed milling facilities for production of ruminant feed in Adamawa, Bauchi, Kwara, Kaduna, Gombe, and Niger state. Provision of milk cooling trucks and generator to support milk production in Kano Dairy Cooperative Society. Support for artificial insemination and dairy cows to improve milk production and breeds of cows under the Livestock Breed Improvement Program in Kano, Taraba, Plateau, Niger, Kano, Kaduna, Oyo, Oshun, and the FCT. In furtherance of the above and other achievements, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will continue to collaborate with relevant organizations, institutions, and associations in addressing the nutritional need of Nigerians through milk and dairy development. We will continue to provide an enabling environment for increased milk production, processing, distribution, and consumption to improve the nutritional status of Nigerians, create jobs along the dairy value chain, and reduce national expenditure on the importation of milk and milk products. Furthermore, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, through the Bank of Agriculture, will be providing financial empowerment to livestock farmers to enhance their productivity and resilience. I am also happy to inform you all that the Federal Executive Council has approved the National Dairy Policy for Nigeria to guide operations in the dairy value chains. Finally, I urge you all to participate actively, visit the exhibition stands, attend the lectures and panel discussions, and join the children as we celebrate the 2023 World Milk Day from 31st May to 1st June 2023. Thank you for listening.
At Saya Consulting, we are really focused on, transforming the African agricultural and nutrition landscape, and we've been doing that for a number of years, working in Nigeria, working across several countries across Africa. But we're proud to be a fully indigenous company owned by Nigerians and for Nigerians. And we are just very passionate people who really want to, drive change within the agricultural sector across the continent, particularly in Nigeria, especially when you consider Nigeria as probably the most critical country in Africa now, with our population, with our diversity, and with the fact that, in the next couple of years, we're going to hit 400 million people. And, every time I think about that, and I said, how are we going to feed these people? So if we are struggling now, then what's going to happen by 2050 with the current projections? We're on the right path, especially under your leadership, Honorable Minister, and the commitment of all the various partners and stakeholders in the room, that we have the right people to actually address all of the challenges that we're facing. Speaking specifically about the dairy sector, the sector that is very dear to our hearts, our journey in the dairy sector as SIA Consulting started about 10 years ago when we started the first project with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to really catalyze the development of this sector. We called that program the Nigerian Dairy Development Program, NDDP, which we implemented in collaboration with the ministry. We implemented in about 2 states in Nigeria in collaboration with some private sector processors that are really committed to investing in backward integration. Interestingly, L&Z Integrated Farms is actually one of our very pioneer processor partners, really investing in dairy development in Nigeria and of taking fresh milk from farmers across communities in Kano. From our NDDP program, we've moved to a much more larger program that we're implementing, which we started in 2020, called the Advancing Local Dairy Development in Nigeria program, HALDIN, that my colleague Fisayo just mentioned during our introduction. HALDIN is a mega, very complex program that we're implementing across multiple states in Nigeria today, in collaboration with all of the critical stakeholders, especially the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. And I'm seeing Madam Winnie in the room. Thank you very much for your tremendous support in driving the implementation of HALDIN. Now we're working with about 6 processors in Nigeria. We're collaborating with L&Z Farms, of course. We're working with HALA. We're working with Sarge Foods in Zaria. We're working with Sebore International Farms in Adamawa State. We're working with Integrated Dairies Limited, IDL in Plateau. So these are processors that are really committed to, investing in, dairy development of taking fresh milk from farmers. And we're very excited about some of the achievements that we've recorded on the program. And we are currently working hard to bring on board some additional processors. So this is actually very dear to our hearts. And so, of course, in addition to that, we've been doing a lot of work around, driving, policy dialogues and, conversations and ensuring that we, truly have a policy landscape that actually supports the efforts of all of these private sector partners. And we're doing that. Actually, we started with the work we did in providing support to Kodaran, the foremost association for the industry. For several years now, we've been working with Kodaran to strengthen Kodaran and make sure that Kodaran actually stand alone as a very strong organization that will lead the advocacy effort. So it's interesting that this year we are planning a mega, World Milk Day, which we actually piloted. We actually started it when we started the implementation of HALDIN. And we're happy that we're collaborating with the ministry, we're collaborating with ACCI and Kodaran to achieve this. I want to say a big thank you, Honorable Minister, for the opportunity. And I hope that we'll be able to achieve the big impact that we really set out to achieve as a whole, as a country.
Like the Honorable Minister mentioned, there has been more emphasis on crop production rather than also putting some effort on the livestock. Even the livestock, there has been more emphasis on poultry than on cattle and small ruminants. So these are areas that we are looking at now to make sure that we have a balanced food in terms of nutrition and other things. This program, the livestock sector financing that we intend to start very soon, has actually kick-started about 2-3 weeks ago, and we have virtually registered close to about 10 to 20,000 customers in our branches nationwide. The bank has about 110 locations across the country, and we advise the applicants to go to the nearest branch to them to register their names and obtain the application forms and go through the process. You don't have to leave Zaria to come to Kaduna, neither do you have to leave Chudunwada and come to Kano, or maybe you leave Ogomosho and start going to Oshobo. We have branches in all these locations. So please tell your members to go to these locations and establish a relationship with the bank and request for the facility. My advice to the participant is that this is a loan. It's a capital for the bank. So please let them pay back as at when due. The bank has a credit policy and a credit process. We'll take them through that process and that program. Where we feel we need to advise them in terms of stakeholders' engagement and enlightenment, we will do that. We've started meeting with the associations. In fact, Honorable Minister, without beating our drums, the first time we met with them was on a public holiday. We left Kaduna to come to Abuja to meet with them. This is how much we've taken this program into our exercise. We want to see that we grow it and we take it to a level where all of us will be happy with it. I appeal to the beneficiaries, like I mentioned earlier. If they repay back, it will be recycled to their other members. On this note, sir, I say thank you very much for, I think, I wouldn't call it initiating, sir, but making sure that this program is actualized. Thank you very much, sir.
In the past years, and I can say that we have various tangible achievements and results to show for it. One of it is the recent signing of the National Dairy Policy, which we want to be very appreciative to the Minister and his team for making this very possible. We have collaborated with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in the past for the World Milk Day Conference, and we have had very impactful conferences. We intend to sustain these collaborations with the current World Milk Day mega celebrations that we are having on the 31st of May and the 1st of June. So we use that platform as an opportunity to explore very strategic solutions to impact the dairy sector positively. We intend to continue with these collaborations in the future, and I would use this opportunity to call on all commercial dairy producers and ranchers in Nigeria to rally around the federal government through the Ministry of Agriculture to really impact the sector so we can have a very competitive and productive dairy sector in Nigeria where we are self-sufficient in milk production. Thank you very much for having us today.
I'm delighted to be here at this press briefing on the upcoming World Milk Day mega celebration in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Commercial Ranchers Association of Nigeria, KODARAN, and Sahel Consulting Agriculture and Nutritional Limited. Through the Central Bank of Nigeria's backward integration, the dairy sector was revitalized and has attracted foreign investment and the creation of ranches across the country. This celebration will be a two-day event with the first day, the 31st of May 2023, playing host to over 20 selected public and private schools, and the second day will be the conference for stakeholders in the dairy industry, while the exhibition will run throughout the event at the Abuja Trade and Convention Center of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry. At the ACCI, we serve as a voice for the business community and also provide a platform for policymakers and the organized private sector to interface and map out practicable ways to implement policies, making this event very important, especially at a time like this when we are having a new administration. We enjoin all stakeholders in the dairy sector to take advantage of this event jointly organized by our chamber, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, KODARAN, and others to come together and make it worthwhile. The success of this event will help us build a stronger relationship for the future. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Dr. Al-Mushtaba Abubakar, President.
We have heard it from the horse's mouth. The minister made it clear what this aforementioned money is meant for, and the Bank of Agriculture in itself said that this money is not going to be given to farmer associations. This is going to be given to individual farmers that are genuine farmers, not association coming together just to collect this money and not use it for what it is meant for. I would say this is a good step, because before now you hear farmers complain, and yet you see associations go getting these funds. Like he said, if you're a farmer and you live in suburb, you do not have to come to the city center to get it. Bank of Agriculture, any Bank of Agriculture close to you is where you can pick up the form, and then this money, of course, you have there's guidelines on how to assess this loan, and then if you're able to meet up with the collateral and the guidelines, of course the money is going to be given to you for you to be able to use in your farming activity or agro business. On that note, we wrap it up on this episode of Agric Economy for this week. I am your host, Khadija Oluwatoyin Amin, saying catch ya.